Hello, everybody. This is Murray back with you on this edition of the Lone Star Diary video podcast. And this week we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, the Texas Rangers. And the title of this is Life of a Texas Ranger. And in this one, we're going to highlight the life of John Coffey Jack Hays. John Coffey Jack Hays, one of the most famous Texas Rangers in history, friends. He did so much. He was responsible for the Walker Colt firearm coming into Texas, which was drastically changed the odds against marauding Apaches and Comanches. Because even though the Comanches and the Apaches might have the element of more men, these Colt revolvers cut it down enormously. And you'll find that out in this video. So let's jump right into it, my friends. This is the life of John Coffey Jack Hays. It seems that from the day he was born, John Coffey Jack Hays was destined to become a Texas Ranger. When you consider his roots, it just shouldn't and couldn't have been any other way. Hays was born on January 28, 1817, in a place called Little Cedar Lick, Tennessee. What a name. Very fitting. His father, Harmon Hays, was of Scotch-Irish descent and had fought alongside Andrew Jackson and Sam Houston in the War of 1812. So, Jack Hays definitely had a heritage, and he would go on to uphold it quite well. From the very beginning, no one in Little Cedar Lick must have doubted that baby boy Jack would be involved in many adventures during his stay on this earth. The future Ranger left his home early in life and attended Davison Academy in Nashville, Tennessee. According to the Handbook of Texas, Hays became a surveyor and worked at his trade in Mississippi before coming to Texas. And after the young man heard of the war in Texas, he decided to join the rebels who were fighting for independence from Mexico. In 1836, Hays entered Texas at Nacogdoches, just in time to join up with troops being led by Thomas J. Rusk. His first task would be to help bury the remains of victims of the Goliad Massacre. It has been said that Sam Houston advised Hays to join a company of Rangers under the command of Erastus Deaf Smith. The group was ordered to patrol the San Antonio River to the Rio Grande, protecting citizens on the frontier from Indians and the Mexican army. During this time, Hays took part in a battle with Mexican cavalry near Laredo. After this battle, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. Jack Hays left military life for a brief period after he was appointed deputy surveyor for the Behar district. However, it seems that he could not stand being away from the action, and so he combined soldiering with surveying for several years. And this experience along with his increasing knowledge on Indian warfare, helped prepare him for protecting survey parties in later years. You know, history tells us that Hays was a mild-mannered man, and his features didn't really measure up to what most people considered what a ranger ought to look like. No, he was only 5'9". He had a fair complexion, but when it came to fighting, this ranger stood mighty tall. You know, in the early years of Texas, the Rangers were They were greatly outnumbered. But there would become something new on the horizon that would change all that forever. And that would be the new Walker Colt pistols. You know, the Rangers had tried to keep the peace between Anglo colonists and Hispanic settlers. The Indians were also a constant threat to cause problems. And in the 13 years that Jack Hays lived in Texas, he gained a national reputation, especially during the Mexican War. He was hailed as a brilliant leader and fearless fighter. He was known as Devil Yak by his enemies and friends alike. In the war with Mexico, he served under the command of General Zachary Taylor, and during this time, Hays was promoted to the rank of colonel. During the Mexican War, Colonel Hays saw action at Monterrey, Veracruz, Tenochtitlan, and Scalaplan, and often going against superior numbers, Hays' Rangers proved themselves time and again on the battlefield. Another important piece of history is that Hays and his Rangers revolutionized warfare, as I told you before, against the Texas Indians by their effective use of the new Colt revolvers. In a fight with Indians in the Battle of Walker's Creek in 1844, Hays and 14 Rangers charged into a large force of hostiles, blazing away with Colt pistols, and routed nearly 80 Comanche warriors. After his illustrious years as a Texas Ranger and soldier, Hays went on to pioneer trails throughout the Southwest and into California. He served for a while as an Indian agent for the Gila River country, and later he was elected sheriff in San Francisco County. In succeeding years, he was successful in real estate and ranching. He was one of the founders of the city of Oakland. Hays was married and had 3 daughters and 3 sons. And it seems fitting that he died on April 21st, 1883, the anniversary of the Battle of San Jacinto. Some 47 years, John Coffee Jack Hays was buried in California. Hays County, Texas is named in his honor. And if you've ever been up around the San Marcos area, then I'm sure that you've seen the statue to Hays, and there's been a lot written about him. So this is a pretty short piece compared to some of the larger write-ups. But I just wanted to include this week so that you would get familiar with this great Ranger. Like I said before, he died 47 years after the Battle of San Jacinto. He had a very illustrious life as a Texas Ranger, and he will go down in history as one of the best. So, that's all for this one, friends. I hope you enjoyed this story about Jack Hays, Ranger extraordinaire, to be sure. But that's all for this time, friends. We'll be putting together another one of these real soon. So thanks again for joining us on this edition of Lone Star Diary, the video podcast. I hope you'll share this with other friends and like-minded people and folks that like Texas and Western history. And I appreciate you being here. That's all for this time, friends. Good night, and God bless Texas.